Welcome to another episode of the Lightspeed Investing Podcast. Today I've got Lauren Z back here again. She is the founder of a amazing energetics-based company that helps visionary collapse time, achieve more, and do more in their schedules. So Lauren, I'm super happy to have you back here again. I'm excited in particular to really do a deeper dive around your industry and, what have you learned, in terms of different nuances within that industry and, how can it be applied to professionals, business owners, and people who are just looking to get out of their 9 to 5.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Philip. Yeah, I'm really excited to be on here again and do this deeper dive. I think that the industry is a really interesting one, and I think maybe a little unusual for some people to come right in. So I want to just start with the self-help industry, and this kind of the work that I do bridges both self-help and personal transformation is better around that, but personal transformation and applying it strategically to your business. And for me, it was almost a little bit of like a rebellion against the self-help industry. But it really is I think it's like I want to say however many trillion, I looked the statistic up, it's like $1 trillion or $6 trillion industry that is really being taken seriously, because when we know that we are operating at our highest potential, that
Mhm.
is when we can create things that are not only, I talk a lot about wealth and prosperity, but that are not only creating that ROI, but also creating the ROI of just deep personal satisfaction. So for me, the work that I do, it is a requirement that both of these things get to happen. And so I work specifically with visionaries who are really wanting to land a legacy on this planet. And I think that when you are doing that, there are very, unique things that come up. And when you're creating, there are going to be unique things that are going to come up in your business. You're going to be challenged, right? I always say like the business, and I know that you probably know this very well as well, is that your business is going to bring up all of your stuff, all of the things that maybe you're afraid of, the things that you're hiding, some of your
Mm.
weaknesses, some of
Right,
your
because like the
vulnerabilities.
business is just an extension of you, right? So,
Absolutely.
so I remember the saying, like, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
your personal life is not necessarily organized well, or if it's in shambles, or if it's kind of a mess, your business will probably be like that because you're the
Yeah.
founder, right, of that business. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the extension that you have with it. Now, you mentioned something interesting. You said that the desire and impetus for you to, do your own thing was stemmed by a rebellion towards the self-help industry. So I mean, if you don't mind kind of sharing and
Yeah,
opening
yeah,
up a little bit, like
absolutely.
what are those moments that
Yeah.
obviously it sounds to me like you were dissatisfied. You may have not gotten what you were looking for. Maybe expectations were not met. Just if you want to kind of uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
give some examples to provide clarity there. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. This is, part of that kind of my own origin story of, I had
Mhm.
invested, six figures and up and into, spiritual development, business development, entered many spaces over the past years and decade. And I saw, people going in for one thing, my own self going in for one thing, and really trying to also accelerate my own goals and see really what I wanted to bring to this planet. And I saw people, going on the retreats to kind of escape their life
Mm.
and then just return exactly the same. I saw a lot of this happens in marketing too, like we're really pressing on the wounds a whole lot instead of really like activating expansion and encouraging a lot of things that almost like a perfectionism and like only think positive thoughts, and they weren't actually getting to the root of, why is my business plateauing? Why do I continue to see the same loops, whether that's in relationships, whether that's in an income cap. There was like an emphasis on let's have a quantum leap, and then people would create it, be really excited, create it, and then fall right back. So like my
Nice.
almost obsession was, what is this? And why is this not working? And why is because I love working with, and I myself am, as you are, multidimensional. There are so many different facets
Hmm.
to us. And I'm
Hmm.
like, why are we approaching this in a one-dimensional way? Why is the industry like, here's an affirmation, or here's a one solution, here's a one dimension. And I realized the things that were working for other people were not working for me. And I had to look at that. And that's really how my own, really technology, my own approach, like that's the Black Diamond process that comes through, is that it is all about now getting to the actual root. And so what is that let's talk about like an income cap, right? That income cap, say I'm capped at the same income you're capped at, but the reason is different, right? It is something that is very specific to you. There are, we can talk about this as well, but the beliefs and the things that we hold and things that we hold in our body and how we look at it, how we approach it, things, the identity in which we're operating in, they're very unique. It's very different. And so this kind of slapping a blanket statement, a blanket solution, I found very frustrating. And so that's where, yeah, that's where I looked very specifically into the individual. And then I noticed in my clients that it was very simple. It could be a word. It could be, and this is something part of the process that I do when I look at an individual. I'm not saying, oh, that, it must be this. We're always going deeper and deeper through a level of mentorship and inquiry, but finding what is that thing. And the thing is, it's never what you think it is. So, and sometimes it's just, like I said, a word. A business owner is afraid on some level to speak this thing aloud, because when they do, uh, they're
Well,
afraid of
yeah, it
being.
reminds me of the what they call it, like the seven whys exercise, right? You kind of like you ask why, and then you do it like seven
Oh
times.
yeah, to
Really,
drill down.
it's really so
Yeah.
to bring this from not just theory but like to reality, can you concretize it with an example?
Yeah, there are so many. One that I particularly love is, I had a client who was essentially hiding for about a decade, was not actually pursuing. They were running their own company. They were not actually pursuing what they really wanted to do. And so they're making business like really complicated, this sort of like stopping, starting, like things were kind of good, but we don't settle for good enough. And they really weren't showing up in the way that they truly wanted to. And they just kept trying to create this business that just never really worked. And then we had about 2 sessions around this. And by the end, we identified where they feared to go. We identified a literal word. They wanted to use a word for this new business that they were creating, and they were terrified of using it. And I was like, that's what you're going to do. That's what you're going to get the trademark for. That's what you're going to use. And the moment they decided to do that, it was like, boom, all of a sudden, all the things that were really hard, trying to create the ecology for the business, they essentially created a 6-figure business ecology in 2 sessions with me. And it's like, we talk about it in this like immediate quantum leap, but it is like this release where all of a sudden you have the permission to where you want to go, and the things that support it just fall into place literally immediately. So that's one that I really enjoy, because they were so stuck, and now they're feeling incredibly creative. They are running the business that is prosperous, instead of feeling like they're trudging uphill the whole time.
So it sounds to me like, you help tackle a lot of like issues that are more so inside, like inward, right?
Yeah,
I call
thousand
it
percent.
like I kind of call it like your inner foundations or inner game, so to speak, right? But
Yeah.
like, for business, obviously. Uh
Yeah, yeah. And I
and,
think
yeah.
for me, it's like one layer deeper. This goes more into like, okay, that the energetics of it. So there's mindset, there's what's conscious, and then there's what's unconscious. And then there's the layer deeper of like, what is And I'm happy to go into this too, like the views of like what is our inner genius. But yeah, same thing, different languaging. Absolutely.
But obviously, so if it's something that's more so an intangible, it's not visible, right? I mean, that's why your podcast is called the Invisible Compass, right?
Yeah.
If it is invisible and it's showing up in ways that may be masking the true root cause, um, how does someone, acknowledge and become even aware that there's something like deeper,
Yeah.
and because to be able to receive help, they have to, I would say have some form of awareness, right? To where they're like acknowledging it, and then that next step is, okay, maybe I need help. So
Yeah,
what do you have to
absolutely.
kind of, say?
So how this is gonna manifest in your reality, right? Is like I just said, very often people will have an income cap. And so they will think, this must be a business problem. I must throw more strategy at it. And do you ever question why one person comes to the table with a strategy and it makes money, and somebody else does the identical strategy and it doesn't work for them? What is that? So that to me signals an energetic issue. So when people are number one, it's going to be something that's like a pattern. You're going to see this pattern. Your emotions can also be part of this, like a level of frustration, a level of experiencing, doubt, fear, imposter syndrome. There are all these like very specific things that are going to come up for you. But if you're seeing a pattern, like I always hit this one revenue goal, but I can't, no matter what I do, I can't seem to, I keep going back. It's like that thermostat. I don't know if you've heard that kind of analogy where you keep coming back, right? You hit this upper limit and you keep coming back. You hit this upper limit, and no matter what you try, a lot of people will try to put more action, more strategy to it. And it's just like a treadmill. It will never ever work if you don't address the actual root. And that actual root is very, very specific to the individual. But once you pop it, once you bust it, then that's the first step. But then after that, it's okay, now can I show up in the identity of the person who can actually hold it? So I often see, people having those very specific caps in, trying to reach a goal, um, showing up and feeling unseen. This is kind of another one, wanting to be recognized, but not feeling fully seen. That means kind of something we're afraid to show, right? Something we're hiding, trying to magnetize the next level of clients that you desire, right? Maybe you're attracting the same kind of people and you're like, why am I, and this can happen in relationships too, but why am I attracting this kind of client? Why am I attracting like a very, no judgment, but a basic kind of client? It doesn't light me up. I'm not like living at my edge. They're asking the same questions. They're not implementing. Why is this? Why am I attracting that? So these are some of the things that a lot of my clients will come to me thinking, oh, it's a business problem. I have a messaging problem. I have, an income problem. I have a strategy problem, but it goes a lot deeper than that.
So if you don't mind, like maybe you don't have to overshare, but like what do you find, I guess, the most frequent alien or not ailment to be, and who suffers the most from this ailment?
Yeah, so that's a really interesting question. I think a lot of the times they're pretty much even in terms of like when I'm looking at a visionary, like if we take it really down to the root, it's like permission. It's permission to
Mm.
own the desire, even if it's delusional, even if other people are going to question it. So a lot of, even I'm talking about 6, 7, 8-figure earners are still looking for validation, whether that is validation from their mentor, their guru, validation from their colleagues. Even they might want to go in another direction. They might want to go bigger. They might want to do something that might be considered a little wild, and they don't. Because there's this kind of fear there, like, it's kind of a people pleasing, but a little bit subtler than that. So in terms of visionaries, I think a lot of people who have a goal or a dream that's quite big and they want to put this on the planet and create a big impact,
Yeah.
yeah, that level of permission to do it before even evidence is experienced is one of the biggest things, even at an extremely high level. There's still some kind of validation there that we're looking for, whether it's going to work, whether it's going to sell, whether it's going to make money, whether, you know, people are going to like it. All of those things go into play.
And so in that case, like, so at least you're able to identify, right? And you have some grasp on the core issue. Uh, what is the framework of tackling? I know you said like, oh, you spent like 2 sessions, and obviously like it's a conversation, but I'm just kind of curious if there's like a systematic process that can be applied to everyone, or does it have to, you know, does it have to take that like intimate environment to review it all? You know what I mean?
Yeah, both ends. So my work is extremely paradoxical, and this is why I've never quite fit into like the spiritual world and the business world. They kind of collide in the sense where it's extremely grounded, right? So it's a strategic energetics, and my clients value efficiency, personal power, sovereignty, all of this. So when they're coming to me, that first, like if we're talking about the black diamond process, I call
Right,
it a
right.
process, but
Yeah.
it's modular. So it's like I'm not going to walk you through something if you don't need it, right? This is not about slapping a template on it. So usually it's number one, we're going to like audit your energy, because very often what you're doing, how you are being, there are energy leaks, right? We all have them. There are things that we cannot see, and so that's part of my personal technology. In the first, generally, it's like the first 5 minutes. I already know like what is that, and that's part of reading energy. That's part of understanding, you know, the issue at a core level, and then yeah, helping them shift it. So that's always that first aspect, like audit your energy, and those listening today can do that as well. Like, what are those places where you feel not excited, tired? What is actually draining your energy? And this requires like radical self-trust here. It's a little scary. It's a little sometimes uncomfortable, but that's like, I'm not afraid to go there. That's where we go. That's where we go really fast. Because on the other side of that, if we're not judging that, that's actually where the huge shifts happen. And then through my process of, yes, mentorship, there is a long game aspect of this where like we're drilling down, we're getting deeper. And then there are processes that I have that bypass the mind completely. So I do energy body work, and I also do audio activations, which we're not, you know, addressing your thoughts or your beliefs. These
Mhm.
are extremely tailored. So once I know what's going on, I will create think of it as like a recorded meditation that is professionally scored, and I create it for each of my clients so that they can listen, like brainwash themselves into power and really release their specific limiters. So it is
Mhm.
very much bespoke to, you know, whatever they're needing at the time. So there is a process of how I'm looking at their energy, and what we kind of go through like this checklist of you know, what identity are you operating in, where are your energy leaks, how are we shifting them, how are we approaching it, and then yeah, then they're given like we'll say homework,
Okay.
life homework to do, which is very, very different for each of my clients.
Like
Yeah,
implementation, so to speak. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, this isn't
So,
like sit back and I do all the work. This is actually
right.
like they go in there and they, yeah.
So I guess, if it is a process with modules, how what is like the range? I mean, obviously some people differ because they may need more help and or they may take longer. But what do you see as the range of like time frame?
Yeah. So that's a really great question. I feel like there are some people who are just ready. And like I've had 20-minute sessions where someone will come to me, will identify, oh, yeah, you're not doing this because you're afraid of your family thinking XYZ and going to the next level. And we do that, we shift it. I've had 20-minute calls, and I've had someone really trying to catch the eye of a celebrity and really want to work with them and not be able to, you know, they're trying all the things, right? They're getting on Instagram, they're trying all these back ways. And then, yeah, after shifting that, showing up in a different energy, and it's like, boom, caught their eye and started, a collaboration, like that kind of thing. So there are people who will benefit from just seeing the thing, and then they can shift it very quickly with me together. Other times, in general, it's 3 months, I would say, is kind of a minimum, because what I really want to see is, how do you handle things when stuff gets hard? Not the exciting part, because everyone's excited at first. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, we're making these breakthroughs left and right. We're having the mindgasms."
Right.
But what
Gotcha.
happens
When the
when it gets
excitement,
hard? What
yeah,
happens if you have no evidence? What
right.
happens when nothing's happening? And so that is really actually the deeper work that I love to get through. But in general, my work is 3 to 6 months, is kind of like that minimum experience. Yeah.
Well, hey, listen, it's always a pleasure having you on. If the audience resonates with what you're sharing and they want to learn more, right, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Absolutely. I would say go right to their website,
Mhm.
recodewithlauren.com, and connect with me on LinkedIn. Every month, I've been committed to sharing a really powerful masterclass that kind of unravels these things a little bit deeper. So they're also very welcome to join me in those, and I'm always sharing them on the website,
So
on LinkedIn.
recodewithlauren.com is the
Mhm.
website, and the LinkedIn name that they should be looking for is,
Yeah, Lauren Zavlunov, and we could put that in the show notes. I know that's
yeah, that's so I say Lauren Z for that.
that's fine.
For abbreviated purposes, right? But Lauren, thank you so much. You heard her. Those are the two places that you can find her: LinkedIn and recodewithlauren.com. Until next time, and I will talk to you later, okay? You have a great day.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, take care.
Bye.